Do I really believe everything happens for good, or do I just say that? Today, Dr. Tanya English shares her story of deep personal loss. She shares what happens when the unthinkable becomes real and how to manage navigating grief as a physician mom. Instead of stopping at sorrow, she chooses to look for the good. This episode is an uplifting conversation about how grief can coexist with beauty, how something as simple as a blues performance can become a turning point, and how we don't have to set up camp in the valley of loss. If you've ever carried sorrow and wondered where to put it or how to live beside it, this episode will meet you there and gently walk you through. Find the full transcript and more resources for physician moms at inspiredmommds.com/66. You're listening to Inspired Mom MDs with host Cindy Van Prague, helping physician moms take back control and prioritize what matters most so they thrive in private practice and at home. Hi there, and thank you so much for joining me today. Before I begin, I have a gentle note. This episode does include a story of the loss of a child, and this is within the first 8 minutes of this episode. If you are currently grieving or in a tender place, please take care in whether you listen, how you listen, or when you listen. You are not alone. If you need immediate support, you can reach out to the Pregnancy and Infant Loss Support Line at 1-888-910-1551, 1-888-910-1551. I'll drop that in the links below. Now, on to the interview. Hi, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me today. Today, I have a special guest, Dr. Tanya English. She helps women turn grief into grace and uncover the hidden treasures in their deepest pain. With over 35 years in healing as a massage therapist, a chiropractor, and energy healer, she guides those stuck in sorrow back to joy and purpose. Welcome, Dr. Tanya.
Thank you so much, Cindy. It's great to be here.
So nice to see you. When I first met you and I heard that you talked about grief, I thought, oh boy, grief is such a raw and difficult experience for a lot of people. But I do want to tell the audience listening today that I think you will find a new perspective and a new focus on healing. I was speaking to you a couple weeks ago by Zoom, Dr. Tanya, and we were talking about grief. It usually leaves me feeling a little melancholic and nostalgic for the people that I've lost. But after talking to you, I felt lighter and more hopeful. And so I would love if you would share your story that helped me feel light and hopeful for the audience.
So in 1994, I was finishing up chiropractic college and awaiting the birth of my first child with my husband. And we were so excited. And then I was overdue, and during labor, things took a turn and he died. We went to the hospital because we were having a home birth. We went to the hospital, which is a couple blocks away. We got on the ultrasound and we could see immediately there was no movement. His heart wasn't moving. So I looked at my husband and I said, are we okay? And he said, yes, we're okay. It was probably the best thing he could have said, because the first thing I thought of was like, well, what's going to happen now? I mean, this is not going to happen the way we wanted it to. And he said, we're okay. And they immediately, did all the things I didn't want to do. Epidural, Pitocin, which is from hell. I don't recommend it to anybody. The situation was such that they wanted to remove the baby from me right away. I don't know that it would have happened naturally anyway, but, hospitals. So they did all this intervention. And while I'm lying in the hospital bed and my husband's sitting next to me telling me to breathe because I would exhale and then forget to inhale, this thought came to my mind: do I really believe that everything happens to the highest good? Or do I just say that? Mm. And I thought, this is really bad. How can this be to the highest good? Show me the good. I want to see it. So I looked to my left and there's my husband helping me breathe. I mean, this is the love of my life and he's helping me through this. So there's some good. My sister-in-law is on the other side of me helping me push. There's some good. People coming in. My mother-in-law, my father-in-law, who are both pastors, they're coming in. Friends from school were coming in. I was surrounded by love and support. And so I just kept looking for what was really good about this. Everybody says the worst thing that can happen to you is losing a child. But as time goes by, I didn't see him as a tragedy. I saw him as a blessing in my life. He turned me into a mother, and that's different from before. So, yes, there's all the things that happen as a result of having to tell people what happened and watching their faces fall. Sometimes I would just say, if somebody asked me how the baby was, I'd just say, oh, he's good, he's fine. Because I didn't want to go into it and tell them everything. And he was fine. He's in heaven. What could be worse? So my belief is that as we die, we go back to the ocean of all of life and we are gathered there. So to me, his death wasn't some terrible tragedy. It was sad for us. Of course it was sad. I wanted to hold my baby and I didn't have one. And so I would take a buckwheat hull pillow that kind of moves a little bit when you hold it, and I'd hold that just to feel good and feel that weight. There's things like that that you can do that really help you move through it. One of the things that I asked was, God, just put me where I need to be for healing. I don't care where it is. That summer in July, we were at the Mississippi Valley Blues Fest, and I said, I want to go see the Blind Boys of Alabama. I've heard of them. I want to hear them live. And I went into the tent stage because there's a main stage and a tent stage. Ed, my husband, went to the main stage. I went to the tent stage, and I had a major healing happen in that performance. I just felt waves and waves of love flowing through me and supporting me. And I just felt so much better and so much more in tune with the amount and the depth of love that there is for us. There's not really words that help describe that. I felt that. I had that healing. Things happened after Eddie's birth that were really different. We had a little dog at the time, and she never did anything like this, but she picked up a toy out of the cradle and put it at my feet one day. Never saw that before. While we're standing in our living room, we had windows that faced the Mississippi River, and a blue balloon went floating horizontally past our windows. And I just got this really good feeling of peace and like it's okay. And, he's okay. We went outside to look and see if there were any parties going on. Nothing happening in the neighborhood. So there are these kinds of signs that I think most people look for when they have a loss in their life, whether it's loss of a loved one, or loss of a place that they live, or loss of a job. I mean, a lot of people had loss of their lifestyle through COVID. So there's a lot of grief to go around. It's not just when you have someone close to you pass. All kinds of things can cause grief. So knowing that and saying, okay, I want to be where healing is. I come out of the tent stage. I'm different. My husband looks at me and he goes, are you okay? And I said, oh yeah, I am really okay. Now that didn't mean that the grief stopped, but it was another level of healing that happened. The grief comes and goes. And today, I might think about him, my son, who made me a mom. I might think about him and feel like you're saying, a little melancholy, but I'm not in grief anymore. And that stopped quite a while ago. I mean, this last year would have been his 30th birthday. We have a very good friend who has the same birthday. So it's lovely to have that birthday too. And know that there's always more good. Being able to find the good in anything, it's just a really good exercise to keep looking for it, keep asking for it. Well, show me the good, show me the good. I want to see this. Bring it to me. I want to see it. When we do that, we're actually putting that information out to the universe that that's what we want. So that's what we're going to get back. It's really ask and you'll receive. Seek and you'll find. Knock and the door will be opened. You really have to do some sort of action in order to have that come to fruition. What I talk about is this deep well of tragedy that happens where it seems really black. That's also where all the blessings come out of. If we don't face it, if we don't look for it, if we don't take an action about it, then yeah, we're going to stay stuck. My father-in-law, like I said, was a pastor, and he used to say, we walk through the valley of the shadow of death. We don't pitch a tent and live there.
Yeah.
And I would add on to that, no, we go out the other end skipping and whistling a happy tune. Because really, if we want to judge everything as being bad or good, we're going to spend a lot of time in judgment, and we're not going to find what's really good about any situation. So there's always a gift there. There's always blessings there, but we got to look for them, and we have to let them in when they show up. And that's the key.
So that's what you're helping people now with, is not being stuck in grief, but to walk through the grief and not dismiss their feelings, which will be there, but to walk out it. How do you help people walk through that valley and come out skipping it up?
You have to face your feelings. That's the main thing. You have to acknowledge your feelings. So I use emotional freedom technique, that's tapping technique, and we tap on the negative feelings. We tap on those and we let them out. And we usually end with, I acknowledge my feelings, I own my feelings, I honor my feelings. Because your feelings are a gift. And they're telling you when you're going into the negative, when you're starting to go down that spiral of shame, as my son says, I have another son, by the way, after that. So he says, I don't want to go down the spiral of shame right now. I want to go on the spiral of joy. The spiral of shame will keep you stuck in that. And you'll just say, yeah, nobody likes me either. So you get to that point where you're feeling so sad. It's an indicator that you need to fill up. You need to fill up the joy. You need to do things that are good for you, things that make you feel good, things that are nurturing. Self-care, which is a huge buzzword right now, is really what you need to do. You need to, when you're stuck in persistent negative thought, that's a part of the saboteurs running your mind chatter. If you're stuck in that persistent negative thought, the first thing you can do is put yourself in your body and do something physical. We do a thing called PQ reps, where you rub your fingers together, you rub your hands together, you feel air coming in through your nostrils, you feel the air going out. So you get in touch with the physical. You listen for sounds farthest away, sounds closest to you. As soon as you do that, you've now changed your orientation to the world. So you're not stuck in self-pity, regret, and worry. Now you're doing something different. And it's just that simple. Putting yourself in your body again and stopping the mind chatter, because those saboteurs will absolutely run your life if you let them. Everybody has them, but they also have the sage part of you, the wise part of you. We call it your innate intelligence in chiropractic. And we also call it, what is it? Innate intelligence is the intelligence that you're born with that knows this is a fingernail cell and not a liver cell. I don't know how to do that. If I were creating a baby and it was my job, I wouldn't know. I'd probably make the blood and forget to make the blood vessels first, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know how to do that, but my body does. The innate intelligence, the wisdom that I'm born with does. And when we tap into that wisdom, there's everything for us.
I think you've touched on so many good points. And I also want to jump back and say thank you for sharing your story.
It's important because there's 60,000 stillbirths in this country alone every year, and people don't talk about it. It's a dangerous proposition to have a baby. You're opening up your body and letting something else out. It's such an alien thing. You know, when you think about it, like, really? I'm going to make a person in here and they're going to come out through this opening that's not really big enough? And if you study embryology for even 2 weeks, you're amazed that we all come out with the face on the front of our head. I mean, we're all pretty much the same. There's so much that has to happen for that to be true. Mm-hmm. So much. And we just kind of take it for granted. But that doesn't mean that everybody comes out exactly the same or perfect. Mm-hmm. Right? Because
in quotes, you're saying, if you're listening, quotes for perfect.
We're all different, and we all have different abilities and different places where we need more support. The other thing I want to say is about that story is that 25 years later, my mentor in blues singing, I have a blues band, by the way. I'm the singer in the band, the Tanya English band. Go ahead, look it up. The internet. My mentor, Miss Gloria Hardiman, Alligator Records recording artist, said, I told the Blind Boys about you because she was friends with the last original blind boy. His name was Jimmy Carter, not the president. He was in his 80s. She said, I told him about you and he wants to meet you. So I went and had dinner with them before a show and have been friends with them since and see them when they come to town. I think of them as my godfathers because they just helped me so much. This was 30 years ago. Two of the guys who were in the group were there that night that I had my healing. So I feel very close to them. And because I sing blues music and blues is a healer, it heals because we're experiencing like experiences. Not all blues is sad, by the way. There's happy blues and sexy blues and party blues, all of that. But there's also the blues that you want to listen to when you're feeling bad because it's lifting you out of yourself and it's identifying that somebody else has been through this too. It's not just me here. I know that there's more. That's why we want to listen to a sad song when we have a breakup or something, because it's bringing that feeling out. That's what we want to do. You naturally want to experience the feeling. You're going to be sad. This is not a problem, being sad. It's a
like
problem. Stay there. And then if you're open, things like that happen. So 25 years later, I'm at the Blues Fest. I'm in the 10th stage. I'm singing Healing with the Blues, telling my story, and people are crying in the audience and coming up to me afterwards saying, thank you so much for talking about this and singing about it. And, full circle moment. We don't get those all the time.
That is a full circle moment. Now you're helping with the healing.
Yeah.
And I was thinking as you were talking that when you listen to a song when you're down and it helps you feel better, it's almost like a sense of validation.
Absolutely.
And you're offering that to those people and you're seeing them crying so you can see the impact you're having right away. Imagine the people you don't even see.
I'm doing a class on June 11th called True Forgiveness. And I say, please share this because we don't know who's suffering in silence. There are plenty of people who are stuck in their grief and don't realize it. They're overwhelmed. They're exhausted. They're easily offended. They can't function the way they used to because the grief is there and they don't realize that's what it is. That's why I also have a class called Grief is a Doorway to Deeper Healing, because it is a doorway. Here you're broken down. Your heart is open. Let the healing come in because it's there for you. So simple. People don't realize because they've been taught not to feel their feelings, not to talk about their feelings, not to talk about themselves, right? This is all like, oh, I don't want to bother that person. I'm not going to talk to them about it. I don't want to bother them. Have you heard that before? I heard that growing up. Don't bother them. Like, well, is my life really a bother? I don't think so. But we've been taught that it is. So I tell people all the time, you've had however many years you've been alive of negative self-talk or negative coming at you, learning how to do the negative thing. We need to inundate you with positivity. So I want you to read this book. I want you to do this exercise. I want you to listen to this audio. You just got to put it all in there because you've had enough of the other. You need this. You need the positivity. You need the love. Hate is not the opposite of love. Fear is the opposite of love. And fear and love cannot live together.
You're bringing a totally different perspective for people stuck in that mindset.
Well, good, because they need it. Getting out of that mindset is really the best thing you can do. You have to be able to give yourself some grace. This is the part where you go from grief to grace. Like, it's okay to feel sad. There's nothing wrong with feeling sad. People say, oh, I might cry. Well, so big deal. So you might cry. You might even need more tissues than you think. Crying is cleansing. Let it out. It's holding it down that is the detriment. That's where things really start to get into disease. Because let me tell you something. Those feelings, they're going to come out any other way they can. And it causes cancer. It causes GERD. It causes irritable bowel syndrome. It causes any disease you can think of because of suppressed feelings. Because feelings create your physiology. As you know, you have a different physiology when you're in joy than you have when you're in self-pity. Those are two different feelings. Just think about it for a second. When I'm in joy, do I feel heavy? No, I feel light. When I'm in joy, I can have great ideas. Opportunities show up. I can be creative. when you're in self-pity or some other fear-based emotion, those things don't happen. And that's physiology. That's just anatomy and physiology.
Right.
So
And
parasympathetic, sympathetic nervous system. One's going to cause you to not think straight. That's when you're in fight or flight. And the other, rest, digest, and heal. Well, you're going to heal. You're going to digest. You're going to rest. And that all gets shut down when you're in fight or flight. And your body will memorize that pattern and go, oh, this is like when that happened. I'm going into fight or flight. And you won't even know that it's happening because that pathway is so well worn. It's so fast.
And that's part of the importance of self-care because it's breaking that cycle.
You have to notice what it is. So when we're doing tapping, one of the things I tell people is just take your thumb and your finger like this and do on either side of your breastbone, under your collarbone, on that point right there, just say, I'm safe. I'm safe. I'm safe. I'm safe. I'm okay. I'm okay and I'm safe. Because when you do that, you're activating different energy pathways in the body. Those tapping points that we tap on are acupuncture points. So we're working on the meridians and how the energy is flowing through the body. That's only a 5,000-year-old art. So probably doesn't work that well, right? No, works great. So you can do it without needles. So you're tapping right here and saying, I'm safe. You can do it with me if you're watching. Just do it with me right now. And just tap right there and say, I'm safe. Take a deep breath. I'm safe. I'm safe. It makes a huge difference. I'll do it in the car when my husband's driving. He's like, do you think I'm not a good driver? I'm like, no, it has nothing to do with you. This is all about me right now. I don't know why I'm getting nervous. I don't know why I'm feeling like I need to do this. I'm just going to tell myself I'm safe because I don't really understand why I'm having this emotion. We don't know sometimes. It creeps up on us. Maybe we saw a red car and we got hit by a red car when we were 4 or something. Who knows? It's better not to wonder. It's better to just tap.
Short circuit it in the moment. You don't
And then
know
that's
why.
when I teach people. Well, my clients like, here's what I want. Here's some tools I want you to use. Use them, practice. We're going to practice together. And then you're going to use them and you're going to know when to use it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a breathing technique I teach called 4-count breathing, or some people call it box breathing. In for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold for 4. When you do that over and over again, you can do it as meditation. You could do it if you're at a stoplight. You can do it when you're taking a shower. It doesn't matter. You can do it when you're not in fight or flight so that when you do go into fight or flight, it's just right there. You got to do it. Exactly. And it makes a huge difference. When I do that in a room full of people, the whole room, the energy just completely changes. And now everybody can feel it.
Can you explain what exactly is quantum healing and how that relates to what you're talking about right now?
That's the name of my practice, is Quantum Healing International. And quantum healing is really about the field is creating what's happening here. So meaning the body. So the field of energy is like each electron has a field of energy around it, creating the body. So I'm in this cloud of probability of how electrons are moving. That's the field. The field is creating me. So as the field gets more and more dense, think of it as a cloud. There's my physical form. That's when it's really dense. So we're creating this physical form through the field, not the other way around. That's what a lot of people think. When we're working in the field, I'm asking the body questions and it's responding yes or no through muscle testing. I use leg length when I have someone here in the office. I use muscle testing with a surrogate when I'm working on people online. Just a doll that I can do it really fast with. And what's happening is, see, there's no time and space. There's no need for that. There's no difference with the distance. When we're online together, I can say, okay, Cindy, I'm going to work on your crown chakra right now because I feel like that needs to open a little bit more. And so I can say that to you. You hear it. Now it's happening. There's no time. There's no distance. So what I do is I have this heart. This is my name on it. And on the other side, I have the name of my clients. So I look at this heart every day and send each person that's written on here unconditional love energy. And the way I think about it is pink clouds of unconditional love. It looks like cotton candy. And it's just like all around them. And they feel that. And they're like, were you working on me today? Yes. So quantum healing is, we're not taking anything away. We're not really adding anything, but we're just changing the orientation of how the field is expressing itself through the body, through the physical body. Does that make sense?
And you're helping people. Yeah. So you're helping people change that field through different techniques.
I have lots of different modalities that I do. Have to do with awareness and also memory. So I might ask the person who I'm working on, what do they need right now? So I went and said, okay, so now I want you to think about when you were 4 years old. And then I'll give you a feeling to think of, usually a positive feeling. I'll give you eye placement, eyes open or closed, up, down, right, left. And then I'll have you do specific breathing, either hold in, hold out, or 4-count breathing. While you're doing all of those things, we're breaking the pattern of whatever happened when you were 4. And I'm holding contacts on the surrogate or on the person if they're in the office, it doesn't matter. And what happens is the body organizes and I can feel my hands start to vibrate, my hands vibrate. And then when they start to pulse together, that's bioenergetic synchronization technique. That's different from EFT, but it's very similar in what we're doing. We're breaking up patterns that have kept the person stuck.
Okay.
So acknowledging feelings, looking for things that are feeling stuck, that are, like I have people write down the things that you want to make sure we work on. Like that argument I had with my mom when I was 15 and I flipped her off. I want to work on that because I'm carrying too much guilt about that and it keeps popping up. And I'll ask through muscle testing, what is it that they need to work on? Is it their list? Oh, yeah. How many things are on your list? Well, I got 15 things. I find the number. Is it 1 through 5? No. Is it 10 through 15? Yeah, it's 10 through 15. Okay, so it's 10, 11. Okay, look at number 11. They look at their list. Okay, how's that feel? We muscle test, their arm falls down. It's so simple. But what people don't know is that that's how simple healing can be. They think it has to be all this other stuff. Listen, nobody has a headache because they didn't have enough aspirin in their body. Nobody has problems because they didn't have enough drugs. That's not where the problem comes from. It's not going to fix it. It might manage it for a while. And this is the difference between Newtonian physics and quantum physics. Newtonian physics is billiard balls on a pool table. A hits B, hits C into the pocket. Quantum physics is the physics of living systems. We're sentient beings. We have a soul. If we don't address that, we're leaving out one of the legs of the chair. So there's spirit, physical, mental, emotional. If you don't put any attention on that leg of the chair, it's not going to be very stable. And you'll fall over. Can you have a 3-legged stool? Sure, not as stable as 4.
I love how you pulled that all together and made it very clear. Yeah. So now people, when they come to you, they're looking for not just help with grief. It sounds like there are all kinds of problems.
Yeah, because the physical pain is coming. Something, is it a breakdown in the system? Sure. Everything has to compensate. When something's not doing its job, I don't mean just the muscles around it that have to compensate. It's everything has to compensate. So what we're doing sometimes is working on compensations. I'll give you an example from my life. A couple of years ago, I had transient global amnesia. I didn't know how I got where I was. We moved from one place where we lived for 20 years to a new place where we are now. I didn't know who the president was because there had been an election. This is 2017. And I got in the car and I'm like, who put these shoes on me? Where did these pants come from? I was wearing new shoes and pants. And I didn't remember buying them. So we came home. My husband's checking me out. He knew what to check for. No physical deficit. She hasn't had a stroke. Something else is going on. We came home. I went into the bedroom to put on my pajamas because it was going to be comfortable. I lost about 2 hours. I had sung a whole set of music and I have no recollection of it. So we called a friend of ours who's a neurologist, and he said, oh, that's transient global amnesia. Look it up. You've got all the signs. Asking the same question over and over again. Over and over. And my husband's like, are you serious? I'm like, okay. Are the guys mad at me? Because we were at a gig. And he's like, no, they're not mad at you. I'm like, okay. Are the guys mad at me? Over and over. So we're looking it up. I went to my chiropractor. We didn't go to the hospital. People kept asking us, did you go to the hospital? I'm like, you know what the hospital's going to do when you come in like that? They're going to look at your head. And that's all they're going to look at. And this was an overgrowth of candida in my gut. So there's your gut-brain connection. When you have trouble in your gut, you're going to have trouble in your brain. That's why I tell anybody who is dealing with Parkinson's, make sure they're taking probiotics. Make sure that they're taking good bacteria. Make sure they're getting that stuff in there because it's going to change their cognition. There was a lot of compensation going on there. We walked up to the door of our house here and our cat was laying in the window. I said, oh, hi, Newman. Newman was our cat who had died some years ago. I was like, oh, wait a minute. You're not Newman. You're Lola. Oh, wow. Something's going on. So when you have these things that happen and you realize you're out of balance, you can fix that. But it's not just a big, gross kind of example of that. But there's much smaller and smaller examples of that happen all the time because we're not looking in the right place. Why was I having that candida overgrowth? That's what I would look at. Okay, so I had the candida, which good bacteria, got all straightened out. But why was that happening? Well, I had moved. And it wasn't a fun move. It was a sad move. And there was a lot of sadness and a lot of fear around it. You just never know. You have to look at what's going on. People say, well, I've had this since I was a kid. I'm like, well, what happened when you were a kid? What was going on in your life? You have to look at those. Yeah.
As we wrap up today, I am going to put the links to how to reach you, your website on the show notes so people have access to where to find you. You mentioned a lot of different modalities that you do. You mentioned some classes that you do in your company. So all of that will be there. Do you have any final takeaway for the audience?
If you're feeling stuck, it might feel like it's all happening right now, that the stuckness is happening now, but it's usually because of something that's happened in the past. What you want to do is look and see, when did this really start? And then zoom back after that. Before that, what happened? Because we're always seeing this stuff show up from childhood too. I had other sad things happen to me before my son was stillborn. And like I said, I have another son. He's great. I had a great delivery. He slid out of me like a little fish. It was awesome. He's 29 now. He's finding adulting's hard. So what I would say is look back and see, when did this start? And then go back from there and see, what's this pattern? Because it's always a pattern. And it might have happened because of a shock that you had. I'm just starting to use a new assessment tool called a voice scan that reads your field energy and then adds remedies to help that communication between your field and your body and support it. Also, remember to take action. If you're asking for something, seeking, right? If you're asking, I need healing for this, when it shows up, take it. When that opportunity comes, take it. Even if it's just a short thing, even if it's just a conversation, take that. Because you don't want to leave that out. You've got to take action. So seeking, asking, God, put me where I need to be for healing. I don't care where it is. There's lots of places.
Yeah, that's exactly what you asked.
Things everywhere.
Yes, if you take action and seek it out. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you sharing everything.
You're so welcome. I'm glad to be here. And just remember, you can heal with the blues too.
Right, which we didn't even talk about, but I'm sure you have a link to your band.
Yeah, that's at
Someone look you up?
healingwiththeblues.com. And my story's there, and there's the page there, and you can go on Facebook and find the band too.
Perfect, because people want to listen to you. Which type of blues do you do? You mentioned there's several categories.
Oh, we do all kinds of blues. Yeah, we do a lot of different things. And then we have the theme song, Healing with the Blues. That's right, I'm healing with the blues. I've got nothing left to lose. That's why I'm healing with the blues.
Thank you for that.
Music is healing.
Thank you.
Much love.
Just a quick reminder, this podcast is for informational and educational purposes only and isn't a substitute for medical advice or care. I'm a board-certified physician, but this content isn't connected to my clinical practice, and no doctor-patient relationship is formed here. The views expressed by my guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect my views or those of my affiliated institution. Please always talk to your own health professional about any mental or physical health concerns. And as always, take what helps and leave the rest. Please see inspiredmommds.com for full disclaimer. Thank you for tuning in to Inspired Mom MDs. Please share with other physician moms and leave a review if you found value from this podcast.